Welcome to the Journey to Pentecost miniseries with Diana Romero, host of the Integrated Life podcast. Let's get into today's message and join the journey.
Hi, everyone. So today the promise has come. Today is the day that we will cover the coming of the Holy Spirit in flames of fire. Woohoo! I'm so excited. We will celebrate Pentecost Sunday in a few days, but because it'll take us time to review what happened on that first resurrection Pentecost, we're going to cover some of those events in anticipation of celebrating Pentecost together on Sunday. All right, so we're going to begin this amazing time in Acts 2, verses 1 through 4. On the day of Pentecost, all the believers were meeting together in one place. And suddenly, there was a sound from heaven like the roaring of a mighty windstorm, and it filled the house where they were sitting. Then what looked like flames or tongues of fire appeared and settled on each of them. And everyone present was filled with the Holy Spirit and began speaking in other languages as the Holy Spirit gave them this ability. And there were dwelling in Jerusalem Jews, devout men from every nation under heaven. And when this sound occurred, the multitude came together, and they were confused because everyone heard them speak in his own language. Then they were all amazed and marveled, saying to one another, "Look, are not all of these who speak Galileans? And how is it that we hear each in our own language in which we were born?" So in Jerusalem, there were many men, women, and children of every nation under heaven, it said, to celebrate Shavuot and the Feast of the Harvest. They heard the sound of the Holy Spirit coming from heaven in power like a whirlwind, and then they heard proclamations of the truth of Jesus. And because they could hear the words in their own language, they tried to make human sense of it. And so their answer was, everybody must be drunk. But Peter, in boldness, speaks to those who are gathered, and he tells them these people are not drunk. For heaven's sake, it was only 9 a.m. in the morning. And then he speaks a prophecy from the prophet Joel. And you can reference it in Joel 2:28 through 32. Now, Luke tells of this in Acts 2:17 through 21. And he says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, says God, that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your young men shall see visions. Your old men shall dream dreams. And on my menservants and on my maidservants I will pour out my spirit in those days, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above and signs in earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. And it shall come to pass that whosoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved." This prophecy shared through the prophet Joel was fulfilled on this first resurrection Pentecost. Anyone can be saved through the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus, and then receive the promised gift of the Holy Spirit. Because of this coming of the Spirit of God to indwell every believer, you and I have the privilege of having communion with God endlessly. I can't put into words how this makes me feel. I am overwhelmed with gratitude and thanksgiving. Have a wonderful and blessed day.
Thank you for joining the Journey to Pentecost miniseries. To join the community and connect with Diana, follow the links in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. If you know somebody who should join you on this journey to Pentecost, we invite you to share this link with them and help us spread the good news.